Now, the first question is a question that I've been asked on a number of my courses over the last year or so, and I find it a very interesting question to ask LeSS trainers because people take very different angles on this.
Yeah.
Whether it's like Boz Vodder's I'm not going to try and sell less, to Ahmad Fahmi's I'm not going to try and sell less. I'm hoping at some point someone's going to give me like a killer elevator pitch for LeSS. Right. So Robert, what is your elevator pitch for LeSS?
Well, I mean, simply said, LeSS is multiple team Scrum versus multiple Scrum teams, saying you replicate the essence of Scrum even if you do work with multiple teams. And that's a very, very difficult thing to do. And to understand how to do that, you need to understand a lot of principle of organization. Things like queuing theory, lean thinking, and obviously the core behind Scrum, empirical process control, and to see how you can replicate that, adapt this in a big organization. So LeSS is a framework for organizational design that allows you to simplify your organization and to work and to be, as an organization, adaptable and customer centric, like Scrum team is. Basically, you can work on the most important thing for the customer side, and it doesn't cost you anything, almost anything, to change direction quickly, to start working on something else if the customer needs something else. This is basically the essence of LeSS, how to change your organization to be nimble and adaptable, and create the most value on the lowest cost.
If I pick out some keywords, ones that hit me in the gut, were adaptable, customer centric, and not simple, but it simplifies an organization and reduces the cost of change in direction.
Yeah.
Would you mentioned at the top of your pitch about the essence of Scrum. Would you say that those things are the essence of Scrum?
Well, I would say that the essence of Scrum is first like empirical process control. So it's a framework that lives empirical process control, meaning you inspect, adapt, and create transparency on what's going on. And because we know that in complex environment, so not complicated, complex, where you don't know what's gonna happen next and what the customer needs the next step and so on, and how they react to the things that you do, you always have to change direction. You cannot replicate something that worked in one environment and copy it. So this is critical, and Scrum has a great approach to live this empirical process control. And on top of that, I think it's this it's this customer centricity. It's the idea that first of all, you work directly with customers, and there is no one who manages the team's work and monitors the teamwork. This is all the responsibility of the people that are doing the work, that are creating the product. So those are, for me, the core essences of Scrum: this self-managing teams, the closeness to customers, and the whole empirical process control.
Brilliant. Self-managing teams, the closest to the proximity to the customer, and empirical process control. Because you can't copy and paste what worked one place and hope it's going to work in another. I like it. There was some interesting research by two people called Price and Toy that said that teams that have a close proximity to their customers are something like 30% more likely to reach levels of high effectiveness in creating value. And that was based
I
upon a study of about 1,300 teams.
makes a lot of sense, and I could guess that um, this might be also related to the fact that they might have more fun and purpose in what they're doing, right? So the more you understand how you can create value to someone, the more purpose you see in your work and the more fun you have, I would say. And that's what I enjoy most about Scrum and LeSS when done properly, is that you see, I'm not a big fan of this kind of like how to create high performing teams and hiring agile coaches that are specialized in. Yeah, I'm an agile coach who is specialized in creating high performing teams, as if it would be a machinery and you have to deal some things and to make it high performing. But I think like if you approach it that way, that you look at how to motivate people better, and especially like touch these intrinsic motivations. And we know from Daniel Pink the three aspects to intrinsic motivation that drives people: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So if you help people to see those things and to live it, then they will automatically, from my perspective, become high performing, because they have more purpose, they like what they do, they learn things, mastery, and they have the autonomy to decide things themselves. And I think this is what I really love about Scrum and LeSS when done properly, is that you address all these three key aspects.
I
Mhm.
think there's a Cancer Research UK, and their purpose as an organisation is to find a cure for cancer. That transcends how much money they're raising through charitable events or anything else. That they want to find a cure for cancer.
Yeah.
People in the organisation who are going to perform and are going to make the best decisions are going to be people that want to help cure cancer. And this purpose, the thing that transcends the profit, I think is so important. I mean, in charities, especially in charities and public sector type organizations, non-profits, large non-government organizations, they have to be driven by purpose. But I think there's a huge amount that private organizations can learn from that.
Yeah.
Now,
Absolutely. And
just
that's the big difference that I see. Like when doing Scrum properly, when doing LeSS properly, you 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 make clear, like, what's the purpose of why what do we want to achieve with this product, and we have this broader product definition in LeSS, that is connected to somehow with the vision and with the purpose. And unfortunately, most large organization that I've worked with or that I've seen, there are so many so-called Scrum teams, right? So teams that are doing this kind of Scrum practices, and they, do dailies, they do planning and review and all the stuff, and then they have a Scrum Master, they have a product owner for their team. But basically, they work mostly on components, or just very small part of the product, and they create fake purposes for their kind of component or sub product, which has nothing to do with that actual purpose, that actual thing that you do for the environment, for the customers. And that's why it's so hard to motivate people, just to make this component more efficient and better, compared to create a cure for cancer, right? So it's two different things, and that's what I love so much about LeSS, is that it creates really not only the close proximity to the customer like in Scrum, but also the bigger picture, and giving every person in a feature team the opportunity to work on any kind of feature they would like to, and create basically the next step to deliver the product that will ultimately fulfill this vision, yeah, or the purpose.
I think that's an interesting goal. I'm not sure if I mean to say goal, but one interesting thing about LeSS is that it takes this scaling slash descaling challenge, however we want to word it, and doesn't say how do we make this big thing work more efficiently. What it says is how do we take this big thing and actually make it simpler? How do we take
Yeah,
this big thing and have teams be nimble and act like they're in a small company? How do
yeah,
we maintain that proximity to the customer?
yeah,
And this is that descaling topic, I suppose, where we remove some of the waste and we get things focused in on actually let's get people talking and let's get some of that small organization feel going on. Much like in that less explain the video, it
yeah,
does say it. But when we were small, it worked really well.
yeah,
What happens when we get bigger? We lose sight of that. We add in too much, and we add, I think, natural human kind of reductionist approach to things. We break things down and we silo things off. And
yeah.
I think the creation of silos is a natural human tendency. The question is what type of silo? I mean, even less we have silos, they're just different types of
Right,
silos.
right,
It's
right.
a case of saying, well, how do we think about what silos we want to make, and how do we make sure the interfaces between them are useful and actually conducive to achieving what we want to achieve, and
Yeah,
rather than just adding layers of project management and PMO and the rest of it.